In this lecture, we're going to take a look at how to use the manager to install extensions. Now, the manager itself is an extension, so it's actually installed in such a way that is kind of like an example of how other extensions are installed. So when you open up here, you can see what it does. It actually behaves slightly different way from most extensions in that it sort of resides in its own little button there that you can open up at any time, and that gives you these options here. Now, before we carry on, I want to take a look at where it actually installs, because it's quite important for us to take a look at the directory structure where we install these custom nodes, which is what they're usually called. So inside of the ComfyUI folder, there'll be inside the main folder, there will be a folder called ComfyUI. Open that, and we come to a folder called custom nodes. That is where the manager should have installed. And you can see here we've got a folder called ComfyUI manager. That is where it should have installed, and that is what allows us to power that little button and all its magic. Now we are going to install other extensions, or custom nodes as they're called, and they will all come here. And it's important that you do not install things here that do not need to be here. So don't copy and paste files in here that have no need to be here. Whilst we're here, we can also take a look at where the models are. So we're going to be using quite a lot of models, which will include the VAEs, and these are the ones that I've installed. I've got a folder for the SDXL VAE, and that is where we're going to be keeping them. The other things that we're going to be using here, control nets, we're going to be using LoRa's. So this is the models folder is where we keep many of the other third-party models that we're going to be using. Now, for the custom nodes, we install them here, and they're usually going to be managed by the manager. But if you need to install something yourself, if you need to manually install something, that is where you would come to manually install it. Now, it's important to understand how the ComfyUI manager works. So we'll go to a very brief explanation of how everything comes together. The manager opens up this modal window, and from here we've got 3 options that are really important. Actually, we've got 5 options that are very important. One is the install custom nodes, install missing custom nodes, and install models, update ComfyUI, and fetch updates. Update ComfyUI is a good one to use just whenever you feel that ComfyUI needs updating, and I do this very regularly. It's just an alternative way of updating the entire package. We can also fetch updates, which will try to fetch updates for existing extensions that we've installed. So it's capable of managing dozens of extensions, and it says there's an updated extension available. We'll take a look at how to actually access that and to update it. But before we do that, let's go ahead and choose install custom nodes, and it will say custom nodes is currently being okay. We missed that, but what we can see here first of all is there are lots and lots of extensions that can be installed. The vast majority of them I've not installed. What I have installed are the ones that I think you probably need to take a look at, either to install yourself or to install later on and to experiment with later if you need to. So of all these extensions here, if you want to see the ones I have installed, I can filter them down to the installed ones. And you can see the ones that I consider the most important ones. Now, of the ones that I think you should probably have installed for this course, one is the ComfyUI Experiment Sampler Tone Map. This one we use from time to time. It's not that important, but I find it very useful. We also want to take a look at the efficiency nodes for ComfyUI. This one is one which is extremely useful all the time. It's a collection of ComfyUI nodes to help streamline workflows and to reduce total node count. You'll see what that means when you start using it. I also have an image gallery that I like to use. This one is not quite so important, but when I do use it, it can be very, very useful for me. So this one is probably one that you want to take a look at installing. Now, when we take a look at the other ones, we can probably install these other ones at a later stage. And remember, we are installing third-party extensions here, so these are maintained externally. if there is a problem with any of these extensions, you'll kind of have to navigate your way to finding out how to actually fix those problems. So the ones here are the installed ones. I think they are probably the most important ones. And I'll show you how to actually use these to install. What we'll do is go back to update. Now, because I requested the software to update or to fetch updates, what it's done is to find which options, which extensions need to be updated, and it's listed them here. So it's going to update itself, and if I click on the update button, which appears in the top position there, it will say installing ComfyUI Manager. And then if I say to it, I want you to update this one here. So this is another important one, and it didn't appear in the installed options because it's ready for an update. So it appears here, but you might want to install this one. I don't know how I would rank this one in terms of importance. It's not the most important one, but it's not the least important one either. Let's click on update on that one. And then finally, we have Python GOS with the hiss of a snake at the end of it. This one is another one which I think is a really useful one to install. Let's update that one. So when you click on update, give it a bit of time, let it finish, and then you'll have an empty update list. We go back to all, and what I want to do is to search for a new one to install so I can actually show you the installation process. I want to install a prompt extension. There are quite a lot of prompt extensions that we have here. Let's try one button prompt. Click on install. We've got to pause a little bit, and then we'll get this message. So we're ready to move on. It does say to apply the installed, disabled, enabled custom node, please restart ComfyUI. So we're going to have to restart ComfyUI to do all the updates and installations that I've requested. And equally, if I wanted to uninstall, I could go to installed and choose uninstall. It's pretty important to clear this button here so that it doesn't keep coming up with the limited selection. So just click on search with nothing here and it will clear. Now what we need to do is to restart the package, but before we do that, let's take another look at the ones that I want to install. ComfyUI Manager we've already installed. This experimental sampler tone map, and if you want to know what this is all about, you can just click here and it will open up to the ComfyUI experiments. This one is an experimental extension. At some stage, I'm assuming that this will be updated to a proper one once it's finished its test phase, and then we're going to have to move to that one. There's another one we've got installed here, which is the Rescale CFG. This one does something very similar to the tone map, so I wouldn't say it's that important. The other ones here you will have to install at a later stage. They're not that important right now. I don't believe in installing all of the extensions all at the same time. We'll go through and install them one at a time. The efficiency nodes, definitely a good one to install. The WAS node suite is one that I use occasionally. Python GOS with the S's, that one is another important one. You can also use the numbers 62, 22, 18. Those are the numbers for these particular extensions. And we're going to install this one. Image gallery is another one, 143, that you might want to install. If we click on the image gallery, we go to GitHub, and you can see how this one works. It gives us, I think it's a JavaScript option to view files by using when we run a prompt, we can actually go ahead and look at the output using the user interface that it has. Let's go ahead and go back to Comfy. And the final thing I want to mention is whenever you want to look at what you have not got installed, there is an option for filter not installed. This allows you to browse things that you might want to consider installing at a later stage. So that's the use of that particular function. when installing anything, I like to take a look at the window, at the command prompt window. And what I like to do is to we'll stop the server, Control C, Command C. You can also hit Control Break. That's an old command that can stop the server. And we'll end this batch. Then we'll just start again. And when we start again, the installation process will begin. And I like to keep an eye on this window just to look at the installation process, just to see whether or not everything has completed. It may take a lot longer to start this time around whilst it's installing different packages. And you want to give it until it's completed. You don't want to close the window before it's completed installing. Once it's completed, it will automatically open up a window. Let's go ahead and close this. It will automatically open up the window again, and that will allow us to start working with the new custom nodes that we've installed. And you will actually see the custom nodes inside of that custom nodes folder that we were looking at a bit earlier. Now, some installations can take a bit longer, particularly if they need to download models, and it's not always obvious that you have to wait a bit of time. It's not always obvious when you need to wait a bit of time to allow these models to download. So allow it to continue and to finish, and then it will open up ComfyUI itself. But if you stop it halfway through, it will have to go through again and reinstall everything next time you start ComfyUI. So it's best to let it finish and make sure that it is completed before you close the window. And we can see now it has actually finished. So all of the different, I think it's that one button prompt that I asked it to save to install. I think that has installed. And we also see that something has changed. So we've got a save menu here, which we've got a save menu and a load menu, and that's coming, I believe, from one of the installed extensions. I'm not sure which one, but that was a feature that disappeared for a while and it's reappeared. I'm very happy that it's reappeared because it helps me to manage the workspace. Guys, the manager is a lifesaver. It is one of the most important things inside of ComfyUI, and use it frequently. Update ComfyUI, check for updates, make sure everything is kept up to date. Occasionally there are bad updates, so sometimes you will see after you've installed something inside of ComfyUI, you may find that you get errors. You can track those down to a particular extension. So be careful. I don't believe in installing huge numbers of extensions because it almost never produces good results. But install a few well-chosen extensions. Keep them up to date. Keep ComfyUI up to date. I really do believe that the ComfyUI manager is one of the lifesavers for ComfyUI. It makes things a lot easier, but avoid installing 100 different extensions at the same time. This is not automatic 11.11. This is ComfyUI. We want to keep it nice and clean. And as you can see, even just with things that we've installed, we've got a lot of options. We can change the link render mode. Let's see. And it changes how the links look. So there's a lot of features within those custom nodes that we have installed. I'm not going to be going through all of those because I covered quite a lot of those in the previous course that I did. And I'll be showing you how to use them as we go along, but I won't spend a lot of time covering each and every extension and what it does. Remember, you can open up the manager, go to the custom nodes, and then click on the link to see the GitHub extension, and that will tell you what the extension does. Some extensions are better documented than others, to be perfectly frank. Okay guys, that is it for the manager. I hope you've now got a setup for your ComfyUI which is looking similar to mine. If not, update it and then we'll continue.